To survive, the man bravely walked into the seaside below 0 degrees Celsius, attempting to cross the Tofu Strait, chasing German military officers. After testing the water temperature, full of pride, it is certain that a man will die. No one can cross the strait downstream at this temperature. Besides, he was also injured. After returning, he reported the situation to the colonel, but the colonel is naturally suspicious. I can't hold any sand in my eyes, and no one is allowed to escape from their own hands, so he forced the man's 11 comrades to take turns entering the seaside. Recall the time they persisted. I want to verify whether a man can swim across the strait alive. Give it a try. Test it out. No one can hold out for a minute. The colonel believes that their physique is not strong enough, so I decided to personally test it. Can be found in ice seas below 0 degrees Celsius. He only persisted for less than 2 minutes. Nevertheless, didn't see the body. He still doesn't believe that the man is dead, so he severely interrogated the 11 companions of the man, but they would rather die than surrender. No one would reveal any information about the man, because it was during World War II. The German army occupied their homeland. Under training in the UK, their 12 Norwegian warriors sneaked back to their homeland, carrying the heavy responsibility and mission of saving the country. The destruction mission called Operation Martin Red was carried out on Germany's station port in Norway. Unexpectedly, the contact person defected, causing their actions to have not yet begun. Surrounded by German army groups, the team of 12 had only one man who narrowly escaped, and he also carried a confidential document. Colonel, I can't get any information from you. Execute all 11 Norwegian warriors. Then he ordered his men to search and arrest with all their might. Live to see people, dead to see a corpse. However, the man was exactly what the colonel had expected. Swam across the strait with tenacious perseverance, despite being covered in frost all over my body, but he still held a firm belief in his heart. That's to rescue our comrades, escape from Norway, send confidential documents to the UK. Fortunately, he met a kind-hearted U family brother and sister. Take him back, change into dry clothes. After staying overnight, rowing a small boat to send him to a doctor's house for treatment. 24 months, but the doctor is not at home. After the doctor's mother gave him a simple bandage on his injured foot, recommended him to another kind-hearted family, because the man's thumb was suppressed by the German army, if not treated in a timely manner. Once infected and necrotic, no doubt men will die. Just then, German soldiers came here to search. Fortunately, the man hid behind the house in time. It wasn't discovered by the German soldiers. After the German soldiers left, the man fled all the way along the coast, crossing the snow mountain. Difficult to come to the doctor. Mother's kind words. The female owner of the house is a hospital nurse. After patiently dressing the man's foot injury, tell him a cruel fact. All 11 of his comrades, who were arrested, have been executed. After the man heard it, heart-wrenching like a knife, deeply grieved. At present, he can only change his plan. Escape to Sweden first, then to England. Subsequently, kind couple helped him connect with a reliable person. Ship him to Lindsay, because the German army is searching the coast. I never expected a man to escape there. After landing, to keep a man's body dry, a strong man jumped into the piercing seawater without hesitation and carried him to the shore, but he still needs to climb mountains and mountains to reach the Swedish border. After a few days of rush, the man arrived at a German camp. This is also his necessary path, but he accidentally fell to the ground. He quickly got up, dare not look at anyone in person, when he was about to leave, but was stopped by an officer, and this officer is the colonel who is diligently pursuing him. Fortunately, the colonel did not recognize the man, just helping him retrieve his hat. After taking the hat, the man quickly left in fear. However, when the colonel is ready to return to his room, I suddenly felt that the man's face was a bit familiar, because he saw a missing photo of a man. Just as the man was in a hurry on his way, a fighter jet suddenly flew overhead. The man realized that his identity must have been exposed, so accelerate the pace. Desperate flight, but the fighter plane has locked him down. Although the man used his geographical advantage to avoid bullets, but the intense gunfire sparked blood anger again. After the fighter plane saw the man being engulfed by an avalanche, just turned around and left. After the pilot returned, he reported the situation to the colonel. If the man is still alive, so there are only 3 paths down the mountain. The colonel will never let him escape again this time. As they expected, the man is indeed alive, but the huge impact of the avalanche almost cost him half his life. There is not a complete piece of skin all over the body. The whole person is like a walking corpse. But he still climbed out of the snow pit with a tenacious will. Sacrificed comrades, his driving force for perseverance, and the hope of the motherland is the responsibility and mission on his shoulders. He keeps reminding himself, never fall down again. That's it. The man kept moving forward in a daze. Meanwhile, the German army has arrived at the foot of the mountain to search. This is a resident, suddenly discovered the figure of a man in the forest, but out of hatred towards the invaders, he didn't tell the German army. After the German army leaves, they quickly ran into the forest, find the man, take him to a farm for treatment. With the help of the villagers, the man narrowly escaped death again. Come on. But in a few days, the colonel personally led a team to find him. He needs to thoroughly investigate all the farms here. The man quickly covered himself with grass for cover. However, when the colonel arrives at the warehouse, as I was about to climb up the second floor to check, the Medal of Honor on his chest was scraped off. He only glanced at the second floor because of this, so he quickly came down and picked up the medal. Go to the next farm for a search. The man escaped once again like this, for the safety of men. The family sent him overnight to a hunter's hut on a snowy mountain, and leave him some supplies and food. The next few days, men need to rest here alone. After the injury improves, they'll find a way to send the man to Sweden again. But life here alone is not good. The harsh conditions combined with his physical condition keep him tormented by nightmares. Fortunately, it's just a dream in a dream. But when he fell asleep, the serial nightmares indicate that the man's spirit is on the brink of collapse. When he truly wakes up, discovering that one's toes have become necrotic, he realized that if he didn't deal with it, he might not be able to leave Norway alive. So he took out his knife. Carry 8+1 for disinfection. Then bite on the scarf. Hold your breath. Hardly cut off the necrotic toe. A few days later, the villagers have found a way to send him to Sweden. Due to the man's relatively weak body, unable to walk, they'll take down the small boat, make a sled, pulling the man all the way to the mountaintop with difficulty, and hide it under a stone. In order not to arouse suspicion from the German army, they must go back immediately. After they leave, another wave of people will come to meet them, send the man to the border. But until evening, the contact person did not appear either. The already weak man was shivering with cold. Life hangs on the line. In 4 days' time, the villagers were happy to think that the man must have gone to Sweden. Unexpectedly, the contact person came to inquire, claiming that no man was found. After a conversation, I just found out. It turned out that there was a mistake in the agreed location between the two parties, and the man has been on the mountain for 4 whole days. It's hard to imagine his current situation, so the villagers rushed to the mountain. The stone has been completely sealed by the heavy snow. They desperately scraped away the snow. Seeing the man lying motionless inside, the villagers immediately felt immense heartache, feeling guilty. It was one's own negligence that killed the hero. But at this moment, the man unexpectedly opened his eyes again. He persisted for 4 days with his tenacious will, and only a small piece of sugar left. Ma'am. Right. If it is, ladies and gentlemen. The two of them replenished him with some food, and then sat down to market. I left him here again. The location of this joint will not be wrong again. 2 days later, the contact person finally found this place. They were planning to send the man to the border overnight. Unexpectedly, a blizzard suddenly arrived. Under helplessness, they can only turn back, temporarily hiding the man in Mandalay, only a few kilometers from the border. After the man wakes up, when I learned that I had not yet arrived in Sweden, I suddenly collapsed. Who did I ask for it? Be without. Woman. This is not in. But currently, the German army has strengthened border patrols, and they need miracles like men to boost morale. That's why I'm extremely careful. They have to wait until the time is ripe. Send the man to Sweden without fail. In order not to arouse suspicion from the German army, they have housewives and even children deliver meals to men separately. Take care of his daily life. In the eyes of these villagers, only men survive. They only have hope. This country will win. 17 days later, ice and snow begin to melt. The man also has the best time to leave. The villagers tied the man to the sled, led by migrating reindeer herds across the border. This is also the only way currently available. Unexpectedly, halfway through the journey, the man noticed that the rope tied to the sled suddenly loosened. The man used all his strength to straighten the overturned sled, and slid it forward with both hands in difficulty, and this also caught the attention of border checkpoints. When they were about to shoot, the man disappeared down the slope into the sight of the sentry. Soon, 3 soldiers will come down to search. The man is hiding behind a stone. Take out a pistol, listen to the footsteps getting closer and closer. He aimed the gun at his chin. Just then, the reindeer dragging him, but suddenly appeared. He couldn't help but think too much. Is this where the reindeer have spirituality, or is it arranged by heaven? He immediately wrapped a rope from the reindeer around the sled, and grabbed it tightly in his own hands. Then pull the trigger, scare the reindeer, pulling him all the way running wildly. Amidst the gunfire and bullets of the German army, the man successfully crossed the border, into neutral country Sweden, go through numerous hardships, a life of 9 deaths. He finally lived up to expectations, can complete the mission, and when the German colonel learned about the situation, feeling a huge shame, he can only walk into the seaside, ending one's failed life. After several months of recovery, the man restored the confidential documents and handed them in. Nurse. End of the entire article.